Hello everyone, Mrhappy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mrhappy, aka Mrhappy Mondays, the weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. It's been a hell of a last week, and we still have one more week to go until patch 3.2 for Final Fantasy XIV. Of course, I'll be doing my usual thing when it comes to the even number patches. We're going to be doing World Prog. Hopefully I can bring you guys Savage Guides a little bit quicker and actually, release them this time. I really only did an A3 Savage Guide for the last set of Savage. The rest were all like walkthroughs and explanations of the mechanics, but they weren't really full-blown guides. So hopefully I'll be able to bring those to you relatively quickly this patch. Also, of course, patch, guides for the new Primal, guides for the new dungeon, all that stuff, all the new dungeons, I should say. And I gotta finish up some of those lore videos and catch up to 3.2. I'm quite far behind, and I know some of you have noticed. Speaking of videos, we have some videos here on the right-hand side of the screen. We have Blade and Soul, we have my 3.2 overview and thoughts. I did a reaction for the first time, a reaction video, and I did an overview and thoughts. So I have a couple of different options here. Hopefully some videos there that if you didn't check them out last week, be sure to check them out. Throw them a like, favorite, subscribe, and share. You know my whole shtick at this point. You don't need to hear it from me again. But it's been a good week, and I'm looking forward to this next week because it's going to be crunch time before patch 3.2 hits. But I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully you guys will join us for this week of streaming, because next week, gonna be light on the streaming, because it's gonna be in World Prog, so the days are going to be very, very long. So, on that note, let's get to the questions from the Monday video, shall we? Alright, let's dive into the first question. Hey, Happy, I'm not a first-time poster, but screw it. I give bonuses if I want. Have 4 free negative quirks cured for free. I know what that's for. I have a Darkest Dungeon question, or 5. But they're really short. Alright. Have you beaten the game since launch? No, I have a pretty good party composition set up for that, but there's a few bosses I still haven't beaten yet. 2, any tips, tricks, or party combinations you have found particularly powerful? One that I've enjoyed, but unfortunately I lost my Arbalest, was Bounty Hunter Arbalest, Vestal, and then for your front row, I either liked using a Hellion or a Leper. And the reason why I like this setup is you have 2 people that can utilize the marks, and you have some pretty good burst damage. It works really well on bosses. For taking out regular enemies, I prefer Lepers and Hellions usually. Abominations aren't bad, and if they have low blight resistance, oh man, you can go to town with a Plague Doctor. Plague Doctor, what's the name? Witch Doctor? Plague Doctor? I think it's Witch Doctor. And then a front row of like a Leper and a Hellion. Oh, I don't know. It works well for me. I haven't had too much of an issue yet. Although on some of the higher level dungeons, it gets pretty rough. So you definitely gotta have a plan going into some of those fights. 2, any tips, tricks? Oh no. 3, is this the best non-FF game to come out since Bloodborne? You should say yes. I wouldn't say it's the best game. I can't really think of one off the top of my head because Bloodborne's a big favorite. But I don't know if I'd call it the best game that's come out since then. There's a lot of games that have come out since Final Fantasy. Best non-FF game to come out since Bloodborne. I don't know. There's been a lot of good games that have come out. I'm not going to say what the best one is. I don't think it's the best one, though. 4, would you like to see changed or added, taken away? The things that I would mostly remove are optional, like corpses, and what was the other thing? And the heart attack. But other than that, I wouldn't really change much about it. And 5, you seem to know the people that made the game. More precisely, I know the people that work at Power Up Audio, the ones that did the audio for the game. I've met the people that have created Darkest Dungeon. I met them over at PAX Prime, but I wouldn't say I know them, like I know Kevin. Will there be patches or expansions to add classes or quests? Just knowing the little bit that I do know, I wouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, I wouldn't expect it. I think I'd more expect them to just work on a new title, something that people can enjoy, as opposed to constantly expanding upon Darkest Dungeon. But if the demand is there, I also see them, I feel like they would do it if the demand was there. Next question. Hi, Hapster. I have some elegant tomestones of nostalgia, and I long for the day those get implemented. Oh, Jesus. Well, I guess tomestones of lore are kind of like that. And here's my question for the week. Should the devs rewrite the autosync command? How it is. You're a paladin, for example. On level 50 plus with Shield Oath activated, and you join level 40 plus Fate Dungeon means autosync to level 40 and losing Shield Oath. Okay, I understand where this is going. You don't lose your oath stance while auto-syncing when the stance is in the level range of the Fate Dungeon. Yeah, I know why it's designed the way it is, but it would be a lot more convenient. It just wipes them all because it's like it's entering you. That's just how it is. I don't really have a good explanation for it. It wouldn't hurt. It bothers me as a ninja especially because like if I go into a level sync area, it's really friggin' annoying to have to always like just You know, it's just it's annoying to have to turn on my poisons over and over again. So yeah, why not? If they can figure out a way to do it, yes, I would like to see that change. Definitely, definitely sounds okay. All right, next question. Hello, Mister. Important question. What makes us human? Our ability to feel compassion, love, feelings. By the way, happy Valentine's Day. It's the day after, but still. And the ability to fear, experience joy, emotion, those things. Next question. Salutations and lacerations. Uh-oh. Hope you're causing the lacerations, not taking them. I don't think that's good either way, unless it's like Darkest Dungeon. I have two questions for you. Do you think there's a possibility that there may not be a character level cap increase in the next expansion, but instead a sharp item level increase? I've thought about it. I have considered it. I think there's ways to progress your character without increasing the level. Even if they were to do a sharp item level increase, I still feel there would be another sense of progression added. Other than that, I've toyed around with the idea, so no, I really wouldn't be too surprised. And it would be a pretty big wrench thrown in the usual expansion idea. I just hope there's no new abilities. Just something that's just, no more. No more abilities. No more new abilities unless they replace old abilities. New traits, something like that. 2, what was the earliest video game experience you can remember? I remember quite a few of them. Playing Super Mario World on my Game Boy, like in the car. No, not Pokemon. I remember stuff before Pokemon. I can't remember the genre of the game. They were puzzle-type games. I remember Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. I remember Kirby's Avalanche. I remember Super Mario RPG. I remember Super Mario 2 when I was really, really young. I think Super Mario 2 might be the first real memory I have. And then, of course, a lot of those rail shooter games with the stupid light gun thing. Whatever the hell it was. Those are really the first memories I think I had. Next question. Hi, Mr. Happy. No bonus for you as you're leaving Sly to fend for himself like golf rating. For shame. Having said, here's some questions about rating. How do you feel about the new lore gear will affect Savage Mode success rates? Obviously, they will increase in some way. It doesn't matter, because if you mean the old Savage, it doesn't matter. Like, the old Savage, not many people are going to be striving to complete the old Savage. It's all going to be about the new Savage, and the success rate of the new Savage is going to be a lot higher than the success rate of the old Savage. So the lore gear doesn't really affect that at all. It affects it pretty much the same way Esoterics affected the first Savage. So as people get more gear, it'll be easier to clear pretty much. 2, I know you don't stream while you're working on World First, but will there be a chance of you uploading any clips of the initial encounter, post-completion, of the Savage fights? Yes, but it will be after it gets cleared by the free company. We make sure that if we're going to post something like that, that other groups have had the opportunity. There's been at least a few other clears. 1 and 2 will probably come very quickly. 3, moderately quickly. I expect a lot of people to beat the 3rd floor of Midas in the first week, and the 4th floor when enough people beat it. Yeah, I'll also be uploading all 4 of the normal modes, maybe with some slight explanation when it comes to in like the first day or 2 on top of the primals and whatnot. So yeah, we'll definitely have some. And question number 3, I've been wanting to take on Thornton Extreme for some time now, but I never entered Savage. I wanted to use that as a stepping stone. It's a good stepping stone. Problem is, all groups will only take people who have cleared. Yeah, it's pretty normal. It's gotten bad to the point that on the Party Finder groups are stating that knowing the fight through guides is not enough to get a spot in parties. You feel this attitude is detrimental to the progression of server population as a whole? Yes, it is. I can understand why people want a clear party, but the problem is a lot of these parties you're talking about are people that haven't beaten the fight and are unwilling to accept people learning. Now, I get it. You've tried making parties night after night after night, and you're always accepting the people that have watched a guide or, you know, really want to get in and learn it, and you keep wiping on, like, the meteors. You wipe on the double knights. I get it. It's frustrating. You want to get people who at least know the last few phases of the fight. That being said, there always needs to be room, but I think another issue is that people who haven't beaten the fight are unwilling to make parties to learn it, and people who want to learn are unwilling to make parties, or unwilling to join parties that don't show some semblance of success. There's a lot of mixed problems within our culture that lead to just, it's clear or don't. You know, do it with friends, or, you know, you probably won't get it done on the Party Finder, unless you're on a really populated server. It's a mix of problems. It's not just the people who make the clear only or, you know, guides not enough parties. And I'm not saying you're part of the problem. I'm saying that the problem is more than one front. It's the mentality of the people who haven't cleared it. It's the mentality of the people who have cleared it. And there's a lot of different dynamics there that need to be worked on. But I do think that this specific instance is detrimental. And I'm hoping to see that lighten up in the next patch. But I mean, it can only lighten up so much. You know, it's never going to lighten up to the point where this doesn't happen. It will always happen, unfortunately. And hopefully you can find a group, or you can make a group to try and learn the fight. That's my #1 recommendation. If you have the time, sit there and try to make a group to learn the fight. Say you got first time bonus. Other than that, that's the only other thing I can come up with. Next question. Hello, Mr. Happy. I've been a long-time lurker on your YouTube and Twitch, and I thought I'd finally ask some questions here on the show. Welcome. I know it is a tradition to give bonuses, so have a Midas Ring of Aiming for your first A5 Savage clear. I wonder if that... I mean, I guess it's probably going to work almost exactly the same accessories from A5. Yeah, I didn't even consider that. I just knew that the loot was, was weapons from the last one, My question is regarding enmity generation of Scholars and Astros for their shield effects. Do you receive enmity for both the heal and the shield? No. The shield doesn't generate enmity, the heal generates the enmity. So that's why Scholars really don't have too many enmity issues unless you're like really spamming physic and like non-stop. And even then, I don't know that you really generate that much, but only for the heal. When it comes to Astros though, yeah, they don't generate it for the shield, but man, Astros, their enmity generation is going to be fixed because the diurnal enmity generation is awful. It's mostly because Luminous Ether is an awful version of Shroud of Saints. Instead of cutting enmity, it basically acts as quelling strikes. Whereas, Shroud of Saints is like, oh, I'm almost caught up to the tank. Oh, now I have half his enmity. Luminous Ether is like, I almost have the same amount of enmity as the tank. Excuse me. Oh shit, I used it, I spammed a bunch of heals, and now I'm still really close to his enmity, and I'm just going to keep generating it. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works. Also, another quick question regarding the Void Arc. Do you think the Mrhappy farthings will become uncapped? I don't know that the farthings will become uncapped. They might just... You know what? Yeah, I think they might. I think they might just be flat out uncapped. I don't see a reason in capping them. There's just no reason anymore. Unless 210 gear is still relevant somewhat to progression, which I don't think it will be. No, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it'll be capped. I'll go with that. I don't think it will be. Next question. Hey, Haps. Hope your pre-patch month is going well. So far, my friend, I'm a little more recent viewer, obviously a first-time poster, so I have 2 times script turn-in bonus. I like it. Just wondering what your thoughts are on mods in the game. They seem to be very lackluster and are generally ignored except for quests and hunts. Why do you think Square Enix didn't want to make them drop better rare collectible items or more guild to make them more appealing to farm or even give more XP now with the lack of the hunting log from 50 to 60? I don't mean make them so appealing where everyone wants to farm them, but make them appealing for more than just farming for, let's say, dragon skins for crafting. One of things like triple triad cards. I actually don't think this is a bad question. I know it reeks of Final Fantasy XI. I'll say that much. It reeks of Final Fantasy XI, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. In this case, you're basically taking another approach to getting people out in the open world and farming enemies and participating in something, you know what I mean, that's not just in an instance. So I don't really feel like there's much harm to it. Triple triad cards dropping from standard enemies that aren't fates, I don't really see a problem with that. I don't see a problem in making a drop that's worth something that's rarer. Yes, it's frustrating, and that may be why. It's frustrating when you're your normal player who wants this item, who wants to farm it, and yeah, you can't get it. But you know what? Not everyone can get every item right away. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I mean, you have raiding as an example of that. So I don't see why they couldn't do it to add a little bit of life. I just don't expect too much of it. You know what I'm saying? So I actually don't have a good answer. I think a lot of it was they wanted it to be controlled, and they wanted you to feel like a hero, like you were significant over these enemies. But I mean, they still have valuable items sometimes, so I guess it doesn't make sense. I guess that's one thing. It doesn't make sense for an enemy out in the world. Hey, what's going on? By the way, I have a card to myself. I guess that's a good reason why in the case of Triple Triad, and it doesn't make sense to see to see this friggin' this lizard that has boots. I guess that's another reason. But other than that, I mean, those are really the only reasons. It doesn't make sense, and they want you to feel special compared to the enemies out in the open world. That's all I got. Next question. Sup, Hapster? Longtime viewer lurker, but first time poster. I have an HQ stack at the next level of deck spots. I don't think we'll get new levels. I think we'll get easier recipes for Draconian potions, though. My static cleared A4 Savage last night. Yay! Server third. Hey, a kill is a kill. That's all that matters. Less than 1% of people have beaten it, so you should be happy. So we've started to look towards a new patch. Good. I'm wondering what you as a hardcore raider suggest doing to prepare for it. One thing in particular is if you think skipping Sephiroth and going straight to Midas Savage is a good idea. Unlike you, we obviously won't be racing for World First, but anything I know that, for one, I'm a bit torn, leaning towards the skip for now option. If Sephiroth drops 220 weapons, he will be worth doing, especially if you're on the more casual level of approaching the raids. You're not going for the World First, go for Sephiroth first. It'll probably be a cool fight. You'll probably have a lot of fun. You get weapons out of it, and that'll make your progression a little bit easier. If he doesn't drop higher item level weapons than 210, then yeah, you might want to save him for later. You know, go into Savage, try some things out. You know, make sure you have foods ready, pots ready. Make sure you have a few hours set aside for everything. And then once you guys are a little burned out on Savage, then go back and try Sephiroth. Get the clear out of the way. Maybe get some new weapons. Maybe something that even if it's the same item level has better stats or has better optimized stats for your job. Maybe it may help a little bit more. But generally, unless Sephiroth drops something that is a higher item level, probably won't stop to farm it until, like, way later. Like, I don't know when I'll get that done. Next question. Hello, Mr. Happy. I've given you too many bonuses, and now I should take something back. Give me all your unidentified shells. Joke's on you, I ain't got any. I'm sorry, that's not nice. Anyway, I've got a few mini questions about class job abilities, so just like your thoughts on them. Should machinist ammo have infinite duration like ether flow? I don't see why not. It doesn't make sense. Like, why does the ammo have limited time? It's like, oh shit. Imagine if you had ammo for a gun, and you put it in the clip, and you waited 30 minutes, and all of a sudden, pff, oh shit, my bullets wore off. It doesn't make any sense. I know it can be maintained infinitely with quick reload, but it's still weird. You know, it doesn't make sense. 2, could stone skin be changed so it's an AoE effect when outside of combat? I mean, we have stone skin too. No, I don't. I mean, I guess it doesn't really make a difference if you're outside of combat. I mean, you can't use stone skin 2 inside of combat anyway, so I don't know. That's just one of those things they gave White Mage. It's their native spell. So I don't know if they've ever done that. I don't know if they've ever. I don't think they've ever made a spell that acts different inside and outside of combat. They just literally restrict whether or not you're inside or outside of combat, whether or not you can use it. I don't know. It doesn't really make a difference to me. And 3, why does Shuffle give me the same card half the time? Well, think of it this way. First of all, there's 12 cards in the Astro deck, not 6. There's 2 of each. So you have the chance to draw 2 cards of the same kind. That makes sense. But when you shuffle a deck, you don't take the card out and then shuffle the deck and draw another card. You put the card back into the deck, shuffle the deck, and then, yeah, you could draw the same card again, theoretically, especially with such a small deck. But it seems like they're going to be changing that in 3.2, so I wouldn't worry about it too much longer anyway. 4, why does Paladin learn Sword Oath before Shield Oath? I have no idea. 5, why does Tribind exist? PvP. It was originally there because it was Tri-Disaster, but then they renamed Tri-Disaster. Everyone's got one of those skills that's really like hard to explain what it's good for, and then most of the time you just go, PvP. That's the end answer, PvP. Next question. Hello, Mr. Happy. Long-time watcher, first-time poster. Welcome. Just curious, how come Mondays with Mr. Happy isn't available as a podcast like State of the Realm is? I don't know. I don't know if this... I mean, I guess it's not really hard to translate to an audio format. I don't know if I have the space for it, because the way I have to do it now is I pay for SoundCloud. SoundCloud is where everything gets uploaded, and State of the Realm, and then that just immediately goes on iTunes. My entire SoundCloud is attached to iTunes. So if I were to upload Mondays with Mr. Happy, it would start popping up under State of the Realm on iTunes. Now, I could probably set it up to do that differently, or the other option is to pay for another SoundCloud account. And I don't think that's very optimal. There are ways, of course, of getting it onto iTunes without doing that. I'm not very experienced with it, but that was the easiest way for me to do it. So that's a big reason why. I also just never considered it. It's a lot of stuff to do for that. And besides, it loses kind of the interactive level, I feel, when people are just listening to me answering questions, as opposed to... Okay, it's no fucking different. I got nothing. That's my reason. It's complicated. And next question. Hey, Haps, not a first-time asker, so sorry, no bonus, but here's wishing you all the best at sweet World First. It's going to be a tight race. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, just a quick question. Do you think we will see any gear in the game that replicates the look of the judges from 12? It's something I would love to see implemented, as they always looked badass, and I got so hyped fighting them. The only problem with that is they might be seen too closely resembling the generals of the Garlean Empire, and that's really my answer to the question, is I expect that at some point we'll get something that looks like the Garlean Emperors. I know it sounds weird, but it wouldn't really surprise me to see that. One day, yeah, we'll probably have exactly what you're asking for, even if it's not really the judges from 12, we look more like the Garleans of 14. I expect that to happen at some point. Next question. Hi, Happy Boo. Not sure what bonus to give you, so have a cute minion of your choice. Thank you, my friend. I've mained White Mage since 2.2, and sometimes when you have played a job long enough, you feel like you know it and nothing can be improved, alright? No. I always feel like there's room for improvement. I have a small problem figuring out my best in slot or what stats to focus on. I did Ariala's BIS solver and was surprised how little I really know about my job, so I thought about asking you for some advice. First, let me tell you where I'm coming from. So my entire thought set of BIS was Mind is over Piety, over Det, over skill speed, or spell speed, over Crit. Piety because of a size and a big mana pool to heal for longer. Crit lasts, so I don't really have to rely on crits to heal. That's a good way to think. But when I needed the BIS solver, I got kind of sad with the way I did. Apparently, Mind over Det over Crit over Spell Speed over Piety is the correct order. There is no fucking correct order for White Mage, let me tell you that. Most White Mages I go to look at Spell Speed and Piety. Those are the two stats they look at the most. Yes, they do sometimes for fun make a crit build or a det build, but most of the time they look at spell speed. And now Miyuni Evans, who is a healer in the World First group for A4 Savage, and someone I rated with for several patches back in the 2.x series, he had this to say about this. He said, okay, Mind, you can't avoid it. Piety, never bad. It's more MP regeneration, scales well with a size. Awesome. Then he was asked about crit, spell speed, and determination. When asked about determination, he says that, okay, so when you prog with determination, well, you prog with whatever gear you have. Yeah, you get more gear, your heals increase, whatever. As soon as you can beat all of the fights, you know when every single point of damage is going to come out, how much it's going to be, and how much you need to heal for. And the only thing that your new stats are really making up for, and that's really just your mind, is the health increase that everyone else is getting. So, with that in mind, you never rely on crits. You never like, oh my god, I'm going to crit this cure too to save this person. It's nice when it happens, but you never rely on it. Determination, great, my heals are a little stronger, but it's, again, I've already calculated out the heals. This is just overhealing. Spell speed, on the other hand, helps you get to things when things get out of hand. So he valued spell speed and piety over the other two. That's all I can convey to you, as I am not a white mage. So I can only tell you what other white mages have told me. Next question. Hey, Happy, first-time asker, long-time viewer. Yeah, I know that name. Are you sure you're a first-time asker? Really? I know that name. So my question is probably asked a lot, but I've gotten this into this market. I'm wondering, is it possible to have sufficient income on only one Gatherer Crafter? Yes, because I do it on Miner. I've been sick of having so little gil to spend on Glamour, but I'm also very resistant to leveling these classes since I find them boring. Thank you for your able answer. Yeah, I do it fine on Miner. I've started leveling my Botanist because I could be earning more, but, I mean, I just do favors, and I do ethereal reduction, and I earn fine money. Yeah, the market's competitive, you can expect to get undercut a bit, but if you're consistent in it, you'll earn an income. I was earning like 800k to 1.1 mil a day on favors, just like 25 minutes of my time. Yeah, it's easy to do. So you could do it. I believe in you. Alright, next question. Hey there, Happington, long-time viewer, but this is my first time asking, so take, I don't know, some mozzarella sticks. Oh, you know what I like. Warning, text wall inbound. Here, have a TLDR. Thank you. How do I progress past the basics of being a good healer? I play Astro. I know things like not overhealing, predictive healing, letting regens tick people up, DPSing, but barely scrape by in the mid-tier raids like A1 Savage. My goal to be able to clear them and successfully solo heal A3 Savage. That is a big step and a pretty impressive goal. First of all, if you're solo healing A3 Savage, don't expect to do a lot of DPS in there. But it sounds like you know the basics. Let me just kind of skim over this wall text. You're on Zalera. Okay. You did an A1 Savage in the Party Finder. You're an Astro main. You say you have room to improve. You died a few times and barely did any DPS. Which happens, by the way, I'm assuming in the Party Finder you have 2 or 3 jumps that lowers your DPS even more, don't forget. So even if you had good DPS in the first like minute or two, it would greatly diminish, although 45 DPS is still very diminished. What can I do to improve on? So you said you had a Scholar co-healing. You could barely keep up with healing and you barely DPS. See, this is something that's really hard to answer. You Party Findered this. I don't know if your tanks were using the right cooldowns. I don't know if your Scholar was healing correctly. I don't know if you guys did the correct healing arrangements. It's not an easy thing to answer without any more information, or without even seeing what happened or what you were doing that was wrong or different. You dying a few times tells me that maybe you tunnel visioned a little bit too much and didn't pay attention to mechanics. That will obviously affect your output. I mean, if you know all the basics, you know what you need to work on, like the predictive healing, it sounds like you're having trouble doing these things while doing mechanics. That seems like what you got to practice on, and the best way to practice on that is to do fights, is to practice more things like A1 Savage. You got the clear, which is good. it's hard to pinpoint one specific thing because you seem to know what needs to happen. You just need to get there, and that's a good thing. The fact that you want to improve on this level, that's a step not a lot of healers take, especially ones that are kind of in the situation where you are. Most of them will just kind of say, I am what I am, and I just want to beat these things. But you actually want to improve and have a very solid end goal. So I can commend you on that. But if you want to watch someone try the healer of my static, Kiona, Kiona, that is also their name on Twitch, so you can find their Twitch stream. They play white mage, but at the same time, you can still pick up a lot of their tendencies in the ways that they handle keeping people alive with regens and their MP management and whatnot. I'd say that's a good person to look for. So I'm going to recommend our white mage and our static Kiona, Kiona. Alright, next question. Hello there. First, the comma confused me. Hello there. First time poster here. I have some free HQ food and potions of your liking. You just saved Shice about 10 hours. Short info about me. I'm main black mage, and I haven't been playing the game for a long time, but I got myself to try Savage. Also started out the game as a white mage, got boring, so fireballs were a lot more fun. Also leveling a monk. Questions. Do you think the game lacks content between easy, normal, accessible, and hardcore rating? Yes. That's my answer. Should they make Midas Savage gear at least 10 item levels higher than lore gear? Nah. I mean, lore gear is meant to so you don't only have one set of gear that's at the same item level, so I don't really see a point in doing that. But I do agree that there is a lack of, like, okay, we have, like, the first two fights of Savage, which are usually middle ground, and then an Extreme Primal. And then you have the two fights that are harder, but are still now going to be closer to that middle level, leaning towards the harder level, more mechanically especially. So, I don't know. I think that that's the big thing. I don't think you need to make it relevant going into the next patch, the gear, because the patches are always going to cycle gear anyway. You don't need to force it to be relevant in the next patch. It's just, it'll eventually fall out of favor, and it's going to happen no matter what you do. Oh, that was your second question. Then you have three. Okay, let's see. Let me pay attention to this right here. All right, this one's for your black mage. Feel like I've upgraded a piece. I've lost a decent amount of spell speed. I'm still around 740. That's still pretty good. I'm not sure about caps, but I only feel the way for me comfortable to get a Thornton weapon. Won't get relic because stats are bad. So basically my question is, what would be a good build for black mage doing savage? Oh, it doesn't matter. You just put on higher item level shit. As long as you meet the minimum accuracy, it doesn't matter. Yeah, there's a best in slot build, but you don't even need to worry about that because best in slot only matters for one fight. Every different fight has a different best in slot list. What I recommend you do, Google your accuracy caps for black mage, find out what they are for each fight, get them, and then just cater your stats around that. You don't need to focus on a specific build. Just focus on playing your black mage correctly, and that will be the single most important thing you can do. And Monk, I'm kind of a newbie, and it's a little complex. What rotation should I use right now? Unfortunately, that's not something I can answer right away. There's plenty of places that you can go to find basic monk information. I'll tell you this right now, though. You'll start with 5 stacks of your mantra, of your chakra. You'll change form into Choral Stance. You'll start with a Demolish before Perfect Balance. After you Perfect Balance, it's Snap Punch, Blood for Blood, Snap Punch, Internal Release, Dragon Kick, Strength Potion, if you're using them, Twin Snakes, Elixir Drive, Snap Punch, Howling Fist, Touch of Death, Steel Peak, Boot Shine, Shoulder Tackle if you didn't use it to start the fight, True Strike, Forbidden Chakra, Demolish, and then you'll just rotate between, side and flank, do Demolish every third choral form rotation, and that should be a good way for you to start. I know it's going to be hard for you to keep track of because I just said it out loud, but hopefully you can get a hang for it. Next question, Mr. Happy Rama Sama Noodle Senpai-chan. Okay, here's one drink of your choice under $100. I'll take a Yahoo. Like, what do you think I would? Okay, $100. I'll take $100 worth of Yahoos. Recently started raiding again, but on one of the days I was late by an hour due to an unforeseen critical circumstance. I could not contact everyone. The group went ape shit. Like, yeah, that's normal. This is the thing with all raiding teams. It's pretty common. But it happens. Like, people got to get over it. Like, it happens, and it sucks, and people will be angry because they're uninformed. But as soon as you inform them, they should be like, okay, we didn't know, we were flipping out, I understand you couldn't contact us, whatever. Like, you're people. Like, it fucking happens, right? Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Just calm down. Tell those people to calm down. And a team, sometimes it's okay in these circumstances to find someone to fill in for that night. If they win, but it's usually okay to find a substitute, I feel. You don't need to find them. They can ask around if a raid member does that. It's not really that abnormal. We do it all the time if we need a sub to fill in. So hopefully that answers your question. Alright, next question. Hey, Happy, third time posting instead of a Super Saiyan God minion, have a Super Saiyan Ethis minion. Yes! I'm glad this is catching on. Hopefully Square does a better animation job with it than Dragon Ball Super. It's bad. Zing! By the way, the new Dragon Ball Super arc animation is way better. Of course, they probably spent all their fucking money on that. Anyway, not a serious question here. I feel like I'm more hype about 3.2 because of the great trailer than I was about Heavensward. Do you feel that way? I always feel that way. But that's hindsight. Like, I was really excited about Heavensward, so I mean, I can look back and say, oh my god, 3.2 looks so much better than Heavensward did. It's like, but I've already lived through it, so it's like, it's kind of a jaded view on it. So I think the 3.2 trailer is my new favorite trailer for the individual patches. I don't know if I'm necessarily more excited about 3.2 than I was about Heavensward's release. I'd have to go back in time and gauge my interest then, but I was pretty hyped because I saw the reveal for Heavensward live. That was exciting. It's hard to beat that. Next question. Hey Haps, Side here with my first question. Really? I feel like I've gotten questions from you before here. Oh well, hi. I was wondering what you think of the dev team added more mechanics in a raid which would make different comps deal with the fight in different ways. Like, say there was a fight where you could remove a defense buff on the boss through Monk's one-hit punch. We've talked about this before. But would increase physical damage or have the option to burn through and then just trick attack and Dragon's Pierce, but the DPS would be tight. I don't think that works very well. Like, there's a thing, there's things that, obviously individual jobs deal with different mechanics in different ways. I don't think literally making one mechanic rely on a single job to determine how you deal with it is necessarily an ideal way. Like, it's a somewhat neat idea on the surface, but it eventually boils down to which one is easier to do. Not which one's easier to do with your group, which one's easier to do. One of them will be easier to do. So, and then people will always just try to look for that specific composition for that job. So it may even lock one of the, like, for example, like if the monk choice here was the worst choice, removing it, then they would, almost everyone would even more exclusively exclude monks from this fight. So I don't think that really works in a situation like this. It's okay to have jobs that can deal with mechanics better, like Summoner being able to cast Miasma on the Renauds in turn 7 in order to slow them to a dead halt. But I don't think it's necessarily better to design it that way on purpose so that jobs are just outright designed for that fight. Next question. Hey, Haps, long time no ask. I recognize the name, so hope you're having a good weekend. You too. And some more tomes, if you want. I do. So, playing Blade & Soul's been great, but some things are really bugging me. Oh god, namely Blackworm. I hate Blackworm so much. It's such a clusterfuck. You know how to kill him and get loot correctly? Make a party of 6 and don't die over and over and over again. Oh man, and even then you're not guaranteed to get a whole lot. It's just, you gotta make a party, you gotta join a party. Oh man, yeah, that's the best thing I can say, and just hope that your party doesn't die over and over and over again. That's the best advice I have for Blackworm, because that can sometimes go so horribly wrong. I hate Blackworm. That's the best advice I can give to you. Next question. Sepbrew. If you were given the option to be able to fly IRL with light speed being max speed, and on top of that you were given a suit that would protect your body against the pressure of flying that fast, but the cost for this was 50% of your natural remaining lifetime, would you make this trade or would you leave things the way they are? I would leave things the way they are. Like, that would be cool and all, but like, it would really suck if I found out that like I was intended to die at like 42, and I'm like, and I accept. I know you said natural remaining, but like natural disease is natural. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just like something inside me was just waiting till I was 42, and that's like I accept. So I'm actually gonna go no, because I would be really scared to find out what half of my natural remaining lifetime is. Next one. Hi, Happy. I think this is the second to last question, actually. Yeah, I think this is the second to last question, so we got 2 questions left. Hi, Mr. Happy. I'm a new player to 14, but not to MMOs in general. I'm enjoying it, but mainly with 2.5 second GCD is killing me. I just hit 50, and I've sporadically been watching a Let's Play series. See, in the series, you're doing your Relic Quest. Now, I know this was pre-Heavensward, but in the post-Heavensward game, do I need the Relic Quest to unlock other things? No. Also, if you're looking for a 2.5 second GCD, Monk, Ninja, one of them. You'll probably enjoy it a lot more. Trust me. Monk especially is a lot of fun to do because you got to dance around with all the different, flank, rear, flank, rear, flank, rear. It's fun. Do it. And no, you don't need that relic done for any reason. Next question, and this is the last question for this episode of Mondays with Mr. Happy. Got through every single one of them. Hey, Haps, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? I'm doing alright. How you doing? You doing okay? You watching this on a Monday? Huh? You watching on a Monday? You eat some breakfast with some cereal? Huh? Alright. 1 week until 3.2. Hype train is real. So here's 999 HQ Draconian potions of dexterity or strength to help you with progression. Before I ask you my question, I want to give you context. It'll be a spoiler section so you can read it ahead of time before I go into my question. But I'll try to keep it as short as possible. I'm giving you permission to tell me what you would do in this situation. Don't hold back. Alright, I'm going to read this real quick. We're going to cut back and then we'll be done. Capiche? Alright, so I'm actually not going to read the full question here at the end because it may actually give away who this is. I don't know if this person knows whether or not they're static members or watching this, but they're basically in a situation where they have a choice. Lead a static into 3.2 or join another more reputable free company's static, and unfortunately with the side effect of disbanding the static that they're in because nobody else would pick up the leadership. This is a tough one because I've never been put in this situation before. I've always been someone that's, you gotta play the game the way that you want to play it. I mean, obviously, to some degree, you have to consider the way that it affects the people around you. But if your goals don't align with people and you're not going to have fun with them because you're always thinking, I could be doing this instead of that, or I could still be friends with this people and raiding in a different group, it's hard. It's really hard. Especially if it requires you to, like, leave your server. Especially, like, that's when you kind of learn whether or not, like, you can maintain a friendship with these people outside of just being in the same raid group and getting along on that front. It's a tough situation to leave the friends and disband the static, essentially, or join a DNT static, but you gotta ask yourself this. How close are you with these people? Are you close enough to the point where you know that you don't want to lose these people as friends? Because, you know what? I'd say that's more valuable than joining a raid group that's going to beat Midas quicker, or that's going to beat Midas at all. I know it's kind of a rough situation. I'd say stick with the group you're leading, because these people will probably get along with you for a longer period of time and have more longevity in general than joining a more reputable free company static, because as someone who's been in them, you know, in Elysium and Legacy and in Death and Taxes, it's like people come and go in those kind of environments. You know, they're quick to come in. If they don't meet their goals, they leave. And you may go over there and you may go over to like one of like a free company of that caliber and run into that same issue where then all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, this person's leaving, then we got to get this new person, we got to trial this person, and it's a pain in the ass. I'd say stick with the current group you're with. I think for once that might actually be the right decision, and that's the best I got for you. Hopefully that answers your question. But anyway, thank you guys for watching this week's episode of Mondays with Mr. Happy. One more time, the video's here on the side. Let me close this. I always forget to do that. Close that. Bam, 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 bam. By the way, I didn't get to mention it at the very beginning of the video, but I saw Deadpool, and it's fucking awesome, so go see it. I'm not kidding. Go see it. I loved it. So anyway, thank you again for watching. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. And be sure to stop by our live stream sometime this week. I think this weekend I'm going to be trying the Hitman beta. So you guys should come by for that. I'll make a video about that at a separate time. But anyway, I will see you guys next week. Be sure to ask your questions for next week in the comment section of the... in the description of the video. Go to the Dream Network forums and ask. Don't ask us in the comment section of the video. That's not where we answer questions. So we go to the Dream forums. Go there. But anyway, I'll see you guys next week. And until then, take care.